If you click this video, you're probably wondering all about title companies, closing attorneys, or escrow agents, how to find a good investor-friendly title company, somebody who's going to communicate well, someone who's going to act quickly, pull the title quickly, take care of you, take care of the seller, take care of the buyer. It is a world of difference having a good investor-friendly title company, closing attorney, or escrow agent, depending on what state you're in, and we'll talk about that here as well. But either way, so glad to have you. Stephen Howell here. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. We're talking all about real estate investing, wholesaling houses, and we have a ton of fun doing it. Go ahead and browse the channel too if you're new. Hit the subscribe button if this content is resonating with you. And guys, if you enjoy this video today, help me to spread it organically by hitting the like button and leaving a comment in the video. I want to hear from you. I want to hear what you resonated with the most and what future questions you have. So guys, let's dive into the investor-friendly title company. How do we go about this? One of the things that I want to share with you in this video, and this is actually a topic that I wanted to share in the last video, and so I just got done recording a video. It was all about earnest money. And so with both of these things and some other topics we're going to talk about on this channel, this is a question like investor-friendly title company. Stephen, I don't have one of those yet. Don't let this stop you from getting your business going. Don't let this stop you, or the earnest money question. Don't let these type of things prevent you from taking action, talking with sellers, because if you have a really good deal under contract, you're not going to let, oh my goodness, Stephen, I don't have a title company, prevent you from making $10,000, $15,000, $20,000. These are very easy things to solve. And so I just want to give you the confidence to say, hey, it's good that you're watching this video. I'm so glad to have you here. I want you to understand about earnest money in the last video, and in this video, the title company question. But I want to encourage you to not just stop at education and just kind of get the information about all these future questions. I want you taking action along the way and applying what you're learning. So with that in mind, let's kind of talk about how do we go about finding a title company. So the title company is going to be the company or the closing attorney or escrow agent, and it really just depends what state you're in, of which one of those you have. In my state, I'm in Ohio. It's a title company state. There's states in the Northeast and all around the country where it's an attorney who does the closing, but basically it's the third-party fiduciary who is handling all the monies of the transaction, the money from the buyer, the money from the seller. They're offering title insurance on the property. They're making sure the deed is recorded correctly and the transfer of the property is happening. So the title company is going to handle all of that. They're also going to run a title search to see if it has a good, clean, and clear title, or if there's a mortgage on the property or any liens or back taxes. So having a good investor-friendly title company who understands what we do as investors is crucial. So how do we go about finding that title company? So the first thing I want you to do, guys, is I want you to get on Facebook and I want you to join your Real Estate Investor Association Facebook groups. And there's usually one or two, sometimes three big groups in your main city or main market. Now, there's two in my market, and they each have about 2,000 or 3,000 members. And all I want you to do is go in there and join those groups and make a simple post. Let them know, hey, I'm doing a ton of marketing for off-market deals, and I'm looking for a good investor-friendly title company who does assignment of contract, who does assignments and double closings, who's really swift with pulling the title, who's really good at communication and just very, very good to work with. And a lot of times from that simple post, you're going to get anywhere from 3 to 5, 6, 7 responses, and you're going to notice some similar names. You'll get recommended a handful of title companies. And that is awesome because you're having your fellow investors in your community and your market mention a few names of who they've used or who is highly recommended who does assignment of contract. And that's very, very important, especially if you're watching this channel and you're wholesaling houses. Not all title companies will do assignments of contract and double closings because they specialize in more traditional deals where a property is listed on the MLS and it's handled by a real estate agent, and that is their specialty. So we want to make sure we are working with title companies that do off-market deals, that do assignments. Okay, so when we have a good title company, so I want to kind of play the movie forward a little bit. So if you don't have a title company, if you're talking with the seller, you don't have as much confidence because if the seller's, kind of is interested in your offer and you're explaining the next steps, which is a very powerful thing to do, a lot of times people will say no to what they don't understand. So if you're talking with the seller about what this process is going to look like, how helpful is it to say, oh yeah, we close at XYZ Title. They're located down on 3rd Street. Oh my goodness, Susie over there, she's such a sweetheart. They're really, really responsive. They're gonna take really good care of us. And it only takes 2 or 3 days or a week for us to pull the title, and then we can set up to close on the day of your choosing. It allows you to speak with so much more confidence, and it gives the seller clarity instead of not clarity, ambiguity, right? So that is going to be a huge benefit. So I want you to know that just by doing a little bit of work up front, we can have this extra confidence when we're communicating and talking with sellers. So when you make the post in the Facebook group, you're gonna get some responses, and those are the first title companies or closing attorneys, escrow agents that you will reach out to. And you want to keep these communications very simple. I don't want you to feel a ton of pressure or that you need to impress them or wow them or brag about all this business that you're going to do. Just keep it very upbeat, very friendly, and just very direct. So you're simply going to call these title companies and you're going to let them know that, hey, I'm an investor in the area and I'm looking for a good title company to do business with. I'm doing a lot of marketing and I would love to do my closings with you. I'm a part of the XYZ REIA group, and your name came up multiple times saying that you guys do assignment of contract. A lot of times we will assign our contracts or every now and then do a double closing. Do you guys do those type of transactions? And so a few other questions like how long does it typically take you to pull title? What does that process look like? Is there a point of contact that I'll have and be able to communicate with? And what are your fees? So these are just a few very simple questions. What are your fees? Is there a point of contact? Do they do assignments? Another powerful question to ask them is, do they offer a split HUD? A split HUD is something that took me a little while to learn about, and sometimes it's called a blind HUD, but it's better if you use the term split HUD. And a split HUD is they make a buyer side HUD just for the buyers and a seller side HUD just for the sellers. So that way it keeps all the monies separate and it's less confusing for the seller. And they're going to not see your assignment fee, and it's going to just make the transaction a lot smoother. So if they offer a split HUD, it just makes the whole process a lot smoother. So that's a question that you can ask. Okay, along with these questions, another question you want to ask them is, especially at the time of the recording, we've just gone through this COVID season. How has that impacted this title company? Has that added an extra week or week and a half, 2 weeks to them pulling the title and setting up to close? That is something that's important to understand. Also, in your conversation with the person, you can ask them what is their typical fee schedule. What do they charge for title insurance, or just the different fees that are associated. Now, these are fees that are going to be handled by the end buyer, but it's still good to understand because we want this to be a win for the end buyer as well. And getting this information up front is great. So keep it very conversational. There's just a few things you want to ask the person on the phone. And what I want you to do, guys, this is really, really important. How we start weeding out these title companies is we want to pay attention to when we call them, who is most responsive, who has that great tonality, who's there to help. Because let me tell you, all title companies are not created equal. I've worked with some title companies where they're very, very disheveled, disorganized. They have a million things going on. They just aren't as pleasant. They aren't as appreciative of the business. They're not good at communication. They're not good at what we do, wholesaling houses. They're not good at following up with the seller, following up with the buyer, communicating what documents are needed if there's like a power of attorney, things like that. Whereas a good title company just makes your life 1,000 times easier. They will go to bat for you. They will work with you on your contract. They will, they'll do anything and everything to keep this deal together. And it just is a night and day difference. So how do we jump the line and find that good title company? It's recommendation. And that's why this Facebook strategy of finding the good investor-friendly title companies allows us to have a lot more accuracy with this. And so working with my one-on-one coaching clients, about 80% of the time, we are coming right out of the gates and they hardly ever have a title company that they've already been working with because they're a new investor. This is something that's new to them. We will, about 80% of the time, land a really good title company right away. And sometimes it takes a transaction or two and maybe we realize, you know what, this title company was pretty good. But then on our second or third transaction, we find an even better title company. So there is a little bit of, just kind of getting moving with this as well. Another question that you can ask them that I want to make sure to mention is, do they have a mobile notary? Do they have a mobile notary, meaning that they will send somebody out to meet with the seller? Maybe there is a seller who lives a little distance out or doesn't have the ability to come in and sign documents. A really good title company will send someone out to the seller's house to meet their needs and make this a better experience and help you to get the deal done. Not all title companies offer a mobile notary, and so you will feel the difference in working with a good investor-friendly title company. So a couple things to remember, guys. I want you to go with your gut, go with some recommendations. If for whatever reason your real estate association or Facebook group, you're just not getting a ton of comments, you could just go straight to Google, type in your city, type in, and do a quick search to find out if you're a title company state, an escrow company state, or a closing attorney state. And then you can just Google and start calling them. I want you to pay attention to their tonality. If you call them, and I would recommend calling them as opposed to emailing them. I know sometimes it's easier to just send them a quick email. Especially if you're just getting started, it's a little less nerve-wracking, but you wanna call them. Phone call is way better. And if you happen to leave a voicemail, maybe they're out to lunch, maybe they have a little small mom and pop business, pay attention to how quickly they get back to your phone calls or voicemails or emails. A lot of times that can be a little bit of an indicator of how good they are with communication. And when you're closing these transactions, communication is key. So guys, go ahead. This can be knocked out in an afternoon, whether it's getting on Facebook, joining these groups, making this post, and reaching out to 3 to 5 title companies, or whether it's going to Google and calling them yourself. If you just block out 2, 3, 4 hours, you can settle on a pretty darn good investor-friendly title company that's going to help you with your transaction. And guys, throughout this video, I've talked a lot about title companies. That's just because here in Ohio, that's what we use. but you can interchange that with closing attorney or escrow agent. Just find out in your state what is used, and it's the same process. It's just a different party who does the transaction. So a quick little example with that, and then that's going to be all for this video, is with one of my students in the Northeast, in the Boston area, there is a special contract that's required. It's kind of a two-step contract. And there's just a way that even sellers and buyers, they like to have their attorney review everything. So my student did not have a closing attorney in Massachusetts that he was going to use. And so within an afternoon, we were able to connect with an absolute rock star attorney who made some additions to our contract and really jazzed it up very good for Massachusetts. She was able to communicate with the buyer, the end buyer's attorney, and with the seller, link everything together. She was so available. She understood wholesaling. She was an investor herself. And that just makes a night and day difference, guys. So it really pays to take some time and find a good investor-friendly title company. But again, don't do that at the expense of taking action and talking with sellers, because that is critically important. So anyways, guys, I hope this video has shed a lot of light on title companies and a few things to think about, and a way to get this question mark that could be looming over your head solved in an afternoon. If this content resonated with you, definitely go ahead and smash the like button and leave a comment below. And I do take time to read those comments. Be sure to subscribe to the channel here, browse some of the other videos. And guys, I appreciate you as always. I'll see you in the next video.